right now, at least when you look into theory production, I don't think that Western universities, be it in the United States or Canada and Western or Middle Europe, are the center of a very creative theory production. I mean, the debate between Habermas and Luhmann is basically over. I mean, what you instead, Foucault instead, you have a very repetitive kind of theory doing in this kind of sentence. It's not, I would say it's not very creative any longer. And if that is the case, if one has the feeling that there's a kind of stagnation within theory production in the Western world, then it's certainly not a mistake to look into post-colonial theories. I mean, you might not like it very much, but I mean, you should at least acknowledge that you are in the Western world, you're in a kind of crisis. Theory is not as exciting any longer as it was in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. And what can we do about it? And one way is at least to look into the so-called third world, post-colonial debate, and you can find some interesting things in it. I'm not saying you should buy everything which is coming from post-colonial theory, but what you should learn is at least that you should very, very self-reflectively look at your own concepts. And I think in this respect, sociology has a huge task to do. Sociology has forgotten that many of the concepts which were really shaped and coined during the phase of the 1890s up to the 1920s were very ethnocentric. And sociology should something do about it. And post-colonial theory could help. But it's a very modest position. But it's not to say, you should have still the different camps and you shouldn't talk to each other. And she says, well, actually, good question. I mean, I'm not arguing, that's what I said, I'm not arguing that contingency is something new. I mean, Max Weber, for example, knew quite well what a contingent situation really is. My point was more that I would like to push the argument that right now, all the former attempts to make sociology more scientific, to go more into the direction of economics, to use rational choice models, to use models from general systems theory, or whatever, they didn't work. And if this is the case, then contingency would be quite a nice problem, a topic where different camps could be. How are we dealing with events? How are we dealing with surprising turns? Is it really the case that we are not able to do anything about it? So the historians, they are telling stories and they are telling us about the events, but sociology should just forget about events. I think this is not a very helpful strategy. Therefore, I would just push that sociology should go into events, should theorize much more the relationship between event and structure. And in this respect, I think contingency is a kind of theoretical focus on which different warring camps can really be. Well, I would agree with you that sometimes you have a very universalist attitude within the post-colonial camp. Yes. But you also have a very universalist attitude within the rational choice camp. And they claim to be the explainers of the world. And, that's not a position which is really healthy for sociology. I mean, you must realize, and even if these guys don't do it, that every position has at least some rights. It's not that they are all stupid, that they are all, know everything. But you have to be, I think, right now, open towards translation. And even if you don't like it, I don't like it, I would say if somebody claims that, all the Western concepts are wrong, at least I would like to understand in a good old hermeneutical tradition, why are these guys arguing the way they are doing it? And if that is the case, I think there is at least a chance to begin with a fruitful discussion. So, yeah, but if there are questions.
Mais 3 questões.
Yeah,
that's it. I'd like to know why are you using the painting skinner with the contingency? I didn't get completely why you are using the sort of ideas or the sort of thought with this phenomenon of contingency. If you could explain better,
hello. I would like to hear a little bit more about the actor's role on this question of structure as something important to social theory.
Yeah, I have two brief questions. The first one would be, it's really related to last one, so basically you are a sort of guidance to your direction. And the second one is, wouldn't be to work with contingency to still remain trapped in a single ontology of how contingency operates. So like, I mean, contingency, yeah, you could use, you gave example of